45 kilograms. That's what I lost. I was 112 kilograms and I went down to 67s, and not once during that 10-month period did I step on a treadmill for a dedicated cardio session. No early morning runs, no running on the treadmill for hours and hours. I know what you're thinking. Why is there so many gyms, or every gym that you go and see, why is there so many treadmills and cardio machines constantly just placed there, and why are people running and doing cardio like crazy? What I did was consistent steps during the day, and it was no more than 7,000 steps a day, which everyone should be doing normally anyway, right? So I was doing things around the house, having a walk in the morning, in the afternoon, or during work, and just kept my calories at a consistent pace and didn't make reactive changes, right? So I made sure I do the right thing day in, day out, and kept it as consistent as possible over a period of time. So I wanted to make this video just to speak about what is cardio actually for. You know, these dedicated cardio sessions, the reason why you see all these machines in the gym, and how it can help you, and when is it beneficial to introduce something like dedicated cardio sessions for you. First of all, right, let's just clarify what cardio is. Cardio basically would be anything that elevates your heart rate above a normal standard, right? So when you're cooking, walking around, having a laugh with your mates, playing football, cricket, whatever you're doing, that is cardio. So cardiovascular is anything that challenges the heart beyond it just basically sat there. And essentially that's what I lent into, right? Basically, when I started losing fat, the first thing I did was a conscious effort to increase my steps. So I think I was probably averaging about 1,000 to 2,000 steps. So the reason I got obviously big was my lifestyle wasn't really that fitness based, but to get into it, I was like, let me find a place that's comfortable. So I started playing a bit of sport, but I was averaging around 6,000 to 7,000 steps a day. I changed nothing else. I've said this analogy before on this YouTube channel as well, that, if you've got an issue with your savings, for example, you wouldn't cancel all your direct debits, all your outgoings, and you wouldn't just sit there. You would figure out what's the biggest thing that's causing the leak. And again, that wasn't a dedicated cardio session. It was basically, like I say, sports, meeting friends, going around, cooking, walking. So it wasn't anything that was too much deviation from my normal life. I basically just increased those things, walking from the supermarket, but walking a bit further back, getting your stuff yourself rather than asking other people to grab it for you, lunchtime at work rather than sitting around watching Netflix or YouTube. I would still do that, but I'd be walking at the same time. Now here's the thing, right? People just straight away rush to jump onto cardio sessions, and they don't realize there's non-exercise activity thermogenesis, NEAT. Okay, I did that. Hopefully I can edit that in the thing. But NEAT, basically, a lot of your bulk of your calories can just come off with that. A lot of your cardio can be done in that zone. And in my case, and hopefully in your case, that'll be enough to trigger fat loss, providing obviously your diet is also meeting those requirements for your body to be in a net deficit overall. Now, fat loss obviously has many complications. It can be difficult, it can be strenuous, it can be, cause you some bother. However, it's a simple maths equation. If you do more than you take in, your calories wise, if you basically burn more, or you're on a side of where your activity is higher than your food intake, you will lose fat. That's the bottom line, and that's the science, and that's the framework I stuck to as close as possible, and I tried to ignore everything else around it. So if your calories are actually dialed in, so I'm not talking about, I think it's that much, I think it's this much, I'm talking kitchen scale, weighing your food out. If you don't have a lot of time, probably meal prepping as well, and you're tracking everything properly, you could create a big dent in your day-to-day life by not changing a lot of food. For example, right, you might be putting peanut butter by a spoon, just weigh it out. You might be able to get half of that, still taste the same. You just have a smaller quantity of it. It's not very filling anyway. You can shave a lot of calories just doing that before you can even introduce anything strenuous like a dedicated cardio session. Let's speak about what cardio is actually for. Dedicated cardio sessions, running, triathlons or anything like that. What is it really for, or who is it really for? Number one, obviously, if you enjoy that sort of thing. If you enjoy running for hours and hours, not because you're trying to burn off food, by the way, it's really important, which we'll touch on in a second. Just you enjoy it, you like having that as part of your day, or someone that is, training for something specific, like you've got a marathon coming up, you've got a sprint or a race or something, those people, and also people. This will be a very small select of people. You may not even be watching this video, but you hopefully one day will get to that stage that you will need this tip, is that people get so lean to the point where if they drop more calories, what will happen is they won't have that same output in the gym. They may be training for a certain goal. They may be training for a bodybuilding competition, or just in general trying to lift a certain amount of weight, powerlifting, and dropping the food will mean that the consistency or the training effort or output in the gym will just not be the same. So for them, what they want to do is add some cardio sessions, a low intensive cardio session like a walk or a slow bike ride just over time. that will create a bigger deficit in there without really reducing the energy input coming in by food. So those are mainly the people that are going to need these sort of strenuous cardio sessions. Having said that, especially if you're someone new or if someone's trying to cut fat or lose weight or just getting into training overall, and someone goes, after all this heavy lifting or after all these 4, 5, 6 days a week in the gym, do another 45 minutes cardio on top of that in the end of the day, is that advice is not for you, and I can't be giving that sort of information out there. It's not the right thing to do. Okay, obviously, first things first, you need to get used to a routine, you need to get used to a system, and on top of that, obviously, you're not creating a deficit by food, which is okay because there's only so much like you can put your output as. So it's not like you're going to have 3,000 calories and you're going to be able to deadlift 300 kilos, and you drop to 2,500, you're going to be able to deadlift 250 or 200. It doesn't work like that. There's a what's it called, diminishing returns point. So at some point, obviously, if you start overeating at that point, then you're just going to be accumulating fat. It's not a case where there's an unlimited ceiling where however much you eat is how much energy output you're going to get. So realistically, adding another 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours cardio session at the end of the session, you're most likely going to be better off, especially if you weigh quite heavy. So if you're kind of like 90 kilos plus, depending on obviously your body mass index overall and all. But if you're quite overweight or obese, then the chances are you're probably better off just dropping some food. And another big factor, right? 110 kilograms, 115 kilograms, it's not comfortable doing cardio, because when I started my first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's what I did. I literally chucked in cardio sessions at the end of every gym session. That was 4 times a week. It's not fun, all right? Think about this. When I was really, really lean, as you can see on here, I didn't carry a lot of muscle, and I was 67 kilos. Most of it I had, which was 115 kilos to start the journey, was just fat, basically. So most of my weight was in fat. And then walking up the stairs, Stairmaster, doing anything additional too far or too quickly, it just didn't feel great at all. And your motivation is great, so you have an end goal, which I did, but it's finite. There's only so much you can take, especially early on in your journey. So what happened with me, I did that, and then I realized my joints were hurting. You're carrying extra weight on your system or on your physique, on your body overall, that has no real benefit. So it's not giving you any energy like muscles would. It's just waste. It's just extra stored fat. And when you're walking up those stairs or going uphill, all that weight is just dragging you down. It's not fun at all. And yeah, you can battle through it. That's fine. You can battle through it. But for how long? Chances are you may need, if you're really, really big, you may need 2 years to lose the fat, for example, because you have to account for the inconsistencies that may come up with life. Or chances are, obviously, give it 2, 3, 4 months, and are you still going to be in the same spot after you lose all the fat? Can you still keep going with the cardio? Are you sure it's not the right idea to drop just a bit more food? So those things you need to weigh out and think about, because for me, I could see, okay, I'm really, really motivated. My discipline is good. I've got a good system going on. However, these 3, 4 cardio sessions a week that I'm doing dedicated on top of all this new dieting and training and all that, it's chipping away at me. Can I do this for another 10 years, 5 years? And the answer to myself, I was just being honest. I was like, you know what? No. Because you have to understand, not everyone is like super active. And especially if you're in that kind of condition, chances are you've not been really reactive. Unless you're obviously Tyson Fury. I don't know what he's doing. But chances are you're not like the fittest person in the world. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in that shape. I made a conscious decision to say, this is not going to work. What can I do? And I averaged it out. I think in about 45 minutes, obviously what it shows on the display is not really that accurate, but my calories would come up to maybe 150, 160. And I looked back at my diet and I was like, okay, I was having 3,000 calories at the time. I was still losing fat. I was thinking, there's no way I can't lose 150 calories off there. And in the end, what I did was I chipped away about 300 calories. So that would have been worth 2 of those hard, strenuous cardio sessions for me in that situation. And for me, I saw that as a win. So that 200-300 calories, like visually what it looks like, it is not a lot of food, right? Visually, like I say, with the peanut butter example I gave earlier, it's a big full teaspoon, tablespoon, wherever the big one is, tablespoon, half that basically, that you could shave off almost 200 calories from that. If you're having, let's say, lamb instead of chicken breast, for example, you can shave off a lot of calories there. Sauces, you can make some swaps with the sauces. So the easier, low stress thing for me, or for any of you guys to do as well, is just look at your food. Okay, chances are there's something in there, there's probably many things in there that you can shave off. Just do it. Just get rid of some of those things, swap them out. Don't get rid of it completely. There's cleaner alternatives for everything you're probably eating. And obviously eventually there'll come a time where you have to part ways of that sauce, for example, or that cheese that you've kind of reduced low fat, you have to kind of get rid of it. But those things come with time. Those things will come in. When you're eating in a certain way and your weight is dropping, your fat is dropping, at a certain point your willpower is kind of leveraged as well. So your willpower increases over time, and those choices don't become like, I have to get rid of it. It's more like, what can I get rid of next? Or what can I do? What more can I do to then facilitate more fat loss? Because this is amazing. So that's the zone you will eventually get into anyway. And the thing that I was speaking about, if your go-to is when you're looking around, you're eating cakes or anything specific and you're looking at the calories and say, oh, this costs me an hour of treadmill. You know what? I really, really want this cake. I'm going to have it and I'm going to run an extra hour on the treadmill and I'll burn it. I'll basically do it back. With that mindset, it creates a horrible relationship with food, because then what you start doing is you look at exercise as sort of as a punishment or a system to get you out of eating bad. Neither of those things are good for you mentally or physically. So what you want to do with cardio is look at it as a tool, integrate it into that system where you're kind of using cardio as like as a normal living thing. It's a tool. Nothing beyond that. Apart from if there's any adherence issues and you like doing the cardio, do it. But if you're going to start there sort of saying, oh, I ate extra cheese, I put this much sauce on there, I need to burn it off. Oh, this is how long this costs me. This cake costs me half an hour of walk. You can't start doing that. You're going to build a horrible relationship with food, which will bite you in the ass, because then you'll find yourself running the treadmill for long periods of time. Your focus shifts away from your actual lifting and dieting properly to punishing yourself, working backwards. Oh, I ate this, so I'm gonna have to work my way backwards. And that's not training. That's a whole different slope that you're gonna fall down under. So you have to make that distinction quite fast. Cardio does not mean fat loss. Cardio is a tool you can use to increase a deficit. It's recommended, a lot of people do recommend it, but what I'm saying is create the deficit with your diet first and then introduce dedicated cardio sessions after. Work on those behaviors first as your NEAT, your day-to-day, living. Just be a bit more active as a person. Find times to be able to walk, because it's good for your heart, it's good for your fat loss as well. But this is about pure dedicated cardio sessions that you may or may not need. So this is what my days look like. I basically had my meals already prepped, or I'd prep them on the go on my days off, just so it's a bit more relaxed. And I made sure I didn't exceed a certain amount of calories. So at that time, 3,000 to start with, and over time, I think I've made it faster. I'm sure, more than sure, I could have cut that quite sharply, but obviously with low experience, I kind of did it in a way where I was like, okay, let me cut it slowly. I don't know where that amount is. I was too paranoid about finding the right amount of calories, where I could have just gone, fuck it, and just nuked it and gone a bit lower. But with less experience as well, that wouldn't have been able to be possible. So I set my meals up that way, and I said to myself, I had a little step counter on an app, and I said about 6,000 steps a day would basically do me fine. And I was able to get that quite easily. And then after my lifting sessions, I'd be too drained. I'll just come home, get on the PlayStation and then just kick back mainly. So no, I don't believe if someone says without cardio, without dedicated cardio sessions, hammering it after every single session, it's not possible to lose weight, because obviously multitude of discussions we've just had about those things, especially about the fact that, oh, watch what you're eating there, mate. That's going to cost you about an hour of treadmill or hour of cardio. What the fuck? You know what I mean? So I don't believe that. If someone tells you, don't believe it. I went from 115 kilos down to 67s without having a single dedicated cardio session apart from fulfilling my steps that I set myself. So if someone says that to me, I just discard it. But do not punish yourself and do not use it as a clawing back from eating bad exercise, because that will mess you up mentally. And to be in this game long enough or longer or forever, hopefully, because you're trying to change this as a lifestyle, the last thing you want to do is look at any of this element, your dieting, your training, anything of it, basically looking at it like a punishment. That's going to burn you into the ground, and that will be the main reason that your results will stop coming in. If you're fat loss, you feel like it's a bit on the slower side and appetite's right, cut more food, and don't listen to people that say you need cardio. Make sure you do cardio. If you've got a trainer or a personal trainer, online coach, or whoever that you're using, or anyone you get advice from, or an article that says this much cardio minimum, give them a miss. Okay? Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace out.